Okay, I'm ready.
Okay, I forgot.
Okay, shall I begin?
Yep,
Okay,
please.
all right. My dear respected lecturer, today my task is to speak about the EU Commission, and this is as part of the presentation as part of my EU exams, and I will be discussing, and my statement for discussion today is the European Commission, the supranational institution of the European Union. The Commission goes far beyond a forum for member state representation, and the main priority of the Commission for its members is to achieve what is at the heart of integration, namely to have the best interests of the EU as a whole. However, the mixture of tasks it does perform also makes it the most complex institution within the EU and at times difficult to understand, especially for the layman and most of the citizens of Europe, which is about 500,000
Mm.
people. My aims and objectives are on page 3, which is the creation of the European Union from the beginning. Some main points: the integration, the body making, how does it evolve? Where did it, how, the commissioners, enforcement? It had its days of glory, and is this power really in being compromised at the moment, and the functions, etc. Some of the abbreviations I'll be using in my presentation today are on page 4: EU, TEU, TFE, TFEU, TOL, TOA, EEC, EC, ECJ. Just for the want of time, because I know time will run out quickly, so I'll be using these abbreviation when
Okay.
necessary. Um, Firstly, I want to give a brief outline of my topic, and then this will be followed with a detailed explanation, and hopefully, I'll be finished within 25 minutes.
Mm.
After the World War One, it was a time of great depression in Europe, and then you had a World War Two, which destroyed most of Europe, especially some of the countries. You find that 75% of those countries were actually destroyed. So making of Europe was done by treaties, and these the two most important treaties was the treaty on the European Union, which is TEU, and the treaty on the functioning of the EU, of this union, and this was in 1958. So the factor that actually brought the European Union together is the coal and mines, which was the main factor that binds these states to create peace and stability. They were yearning for peace and stability. And in order to avoid the World War One and Two in a scenario like this, they created this treaty. And then this treaty is known as the treaty establishing the European coal and the steel community, which was done by France, West Germany, Italy, and the three Benelux countries, which is Belgium, Luxembourg, and Netherlands. Now they've achieved this goal of peace and security and tranquility among the EU nations. They are now looking towards expansion and having more states joining this union. So they've become the union has become so powerful now and so respected in the eyes of some people that they want to regulate your fishing, your agriculture, the migration, the pollution. Sometimes you find, like the UK, the EU laws govern about 60% of the laws of the UK. So that is taken away from our sovereignty. And some countries you find that the 80% of these laws of the EU laws in those countries. So as the laws grow and the demand require, what they will do, they will create more institutions for its effectiveness and to achieve this goal. Now I'll be looking at the more detailed overview of the EU in particular, and then we will summarize at the end. According to Article 1.3, which is 13th, Section 1, the main institution which carry out this job task with the EU shall issue are usually the the European Commission, the Council of Europe, and the Parliament, in addition to the ECJ. So sometimes I have a little note here that says sometimes we speak of EU and we say the seven institutions, or we say the three institutions, or generally you find when you refer to the three institutions, this means that the triangle effect, which is more important in terms of the European Commission, the Council of the European Union, and the Parliament. These are the three powers that basically that really controls the other organizations and keep Europe going as it is today. uh you this so the main task here now is was in article 1.3 was to really task seven organizations, institutions, to run the EU, which is EU Commission, EU Parliament, Council of Europe, Council of the European Union, European Council, the Court of Justice, the Court of Auditors, and the European Central Bank. Now, from those seven major players in the EU um, enhancement and advancement, you find three of them are the main important ones. Like I said, the European Commission, who works closely with the ECJ, the Council of the European Union, and the Parliament. And now we look at the origin and the philosophy of the shared powers. Where did this idea actually originated? From Montesquieu, when he says, the likes of Montesquieu and John Locke and many of them, which I remember from my public law days, he said in the spirit of laws, he said that the separation of powers is one that will, keep the checks and balances. So he divided them into the legislative, the executive, and the judicial courts. So this is where the EU actually got the idea of having these three main bodies. Now the European Commission is the engine. That's the real engine. When I look at this picture first, I was thinking, what, this building is so big. When I actually went into the studies, and I realized there's more than 33,000 people, which I'll come to in later in this presentation. So the location of this European Commission is in Brussels or Luxembourg, and most Commission departments are located in Brussels. But the Commission has offices in EU, every EU country. Offices outside the EU are usually called delegations, and they are run by the European External Action Service. The departments and executive agencies of the commissions are based in Brussels and Luxembourg. You find the former president was Jean-Claude Juncker, and then he ran from 2014 to 19, and then he was now replaced in July 2019. The European Council nominated Ursula von der Leyen, and she was elected as the 13th president of the European Commission by the European Parliament. So here, as like I was saying, the three main bodies, she was elected. The Commission, the head of the Commission was elected by the Parliament. So here we are building a picture as we go along. So von der Leyen assumed office on the 1st of December 2019. And her salary stands at 306,655 annually, a position that I'm actually I would love to take this position at some point after my graduation. The Council of Europe, or which is called the Council of Ministers, and this is located in Strasbourg. I heard people saying Strasbourg, which is Strasbourg, obviously, in France. And this is one of the three triangular combination of the power of Europe. The European Parliament is one of the other important institution, and this is in Strasbourg, and this is very important in terms of the triangle. The judicial function of the court is number 4. I added here because it's based in Luxembourg and it works closely with the EU, with the European Commission. In other words, if they are the power, the vanguard of moving the policies of the European Commission, which is my focus today. The EU Commission oversee the application of EU law under the control of the ECJ. And these laws come by way of this decision, regulations, directives, and treaties. Now, if anyone was if you did not follow these regulations, then there'll be a hefty fine coming your way. Examples of those: you find 5 countries faces fines after breaking EU pollution law. So the European Commission has actually threatened legal actions against France, Germany, Italy, Spain, and the UK after they failed to take precaution in the pollution laws. Refugee laws broken by the EU. The EU court rules 3 member states broke law over the refugee quotas, which is the Czech Republic, Hungary, and Poland, because they failed to comply with the 2015 program of the ECJ. And you find Italy fined by EU top court for failing to recoup Sardinian aid. And so Italy was slapped with a hefty 7.5 million euros fine. And not only this, will also have to pay a daily fine of 80,000 euros until they comply. So not only they give you the fine, they also put additional burden on you. No wonder why we have the Brexit today. Britain, 647 million for poor accounting. The hypocrisy of the first order, outrage as Europe fines UK 652 million for poor accounting. Why the European Commission brazenly fined the UK government. And now another fine for the UK, 2 billion fine over Chinese imported scam, say EU investigators. So they have the eyes, they have the investigation, they have the spies everywhere. So the customs officials are accused of negligence for failing to crack down on criminal gangs flooding Europe with illegal goods. Now, the powers of the commissions is this institution, the European Commission, must act within the powers conferred on them by the treaty. So, like in the UK, we have our own acts of parliaments. We have the cases. The system, our system, judicial system, is governed by these laws and cases and precedents. Likewise, the EU powers come from the treaty, largely defined by the original EC, the European Community Treaty, despite changes made by the TEU. So changes will always be there. The Commission and the Council have had powers enlarged through subsequent treaties. So they have the original treaties, they have amendments to those treaties, and they have new treaties as they go along. And this commission is also assisted by two advisory bodies, the Economic and Social Committee and the Committee of the Regions, and each has its own set of rules. Article 17 is one that is very important as it relates to the commission, and this outlined the commission's role. So basically, the commissions participate in the decision making process of the EU. So basically, as we go along, we will be looking at the European. What did it do? How does it work? And how does it fit in with the entire process? Now, this article basically says the Commission shall promote the general interests of the Union and take appropriate initiatives to that end. It shall ensure the application of the treaties and measures adopted by the institution pursuant to them. It shall oversee the application of Union law under the control of the Court of Justice of the EU. It shall execute the budget and manage programs. It shall exercise coordinating executive and management functions as laid down in the treaties, with the exception of the common foreign and security policy and other cases provided for in the treaties. It shall ensure the Union's external representation. It shall initiate the Union's annual and multi-annual programming with a view to achieving interinstitutional agreement. And taken the commission, so the main points taken from that long explanation, the long article number 17, there is the main points here would be to promote the general interest of the union, take proper initiatives, application of treaties, and oversee the application of the law under the control of the ECJ, and external representation. uh, the main treaties, by now, I think someone is wondering what's the definition for treaty? A formally concluded and ratified agreement between states. So these are agreement between states. So I've listed a few just for flavoring of some of the different type of treaties that has gone by in a chronological order from the latest to the oldest. The Treaty of Lisbon, the Treaty of Nice, Amsterdam, Treaty in European Union, Single European Market, the Merger Treaty, Treaties of Rome, and the treaty establishing the European Coal and the Steel Community, which I mentioned in my brief overview when I was given an overview. So that was the first treaty basically that brings the EU together. The Commission has 8 primary roles: to promote the general interests of the Union and take appropriate initiatives to that end, ensure the application of the treaties, and to oversee the application of union law with this ECJ, execute the budget and manage programs, exercise coordinating executive and management functions. It shall ensure that the unions are represented external representation, with exception of foreign, like I said before, exception of the foreign and security policy and other cases provided for in the treaty. So generally, they represent the union on an external forum, except for security and policy and the common foreign and security policy, and for the certain treaties that it is exempted from. Number 7, initiate the union's annual and multi-annual programming with a view to achieving this interinstitutional agreement and take part in the decision making. So they initiate these rules and they make them, and they have to follow a procedure which we don't have time to discuss. And the commission basically is a politically independent institution, and it's a role of the executive administration for the union. The proposes and the draft legislation, policies, and programs of action. They implement decision of the Parliament and the Council of Europe. The police observance of the roles, policies, observance of union roles. And this was set up here in order. We mentioned the president and the Ursula von der Leyen. We mentioned those. The commission, the Article 250 of the TFEU, it says that the president role, the commission shall work under the political guidance of its president, Ursula von der Leyen. So some of her role would be like she's a negotiating face. No wonder why she comes on all these broadcasting network and social media. I didn't actually realize this, but when I was studying this bit, I realized that's why she's on every front page. She's a negotiating face of the commission. She represents the commission, the manages the commission. She is appointed by governor of the member of states, appointed by parliament, like we mentioned on the 1st of December, following the approval of the European Parliament. She will run for 5 years. And then who chooses the commissioners? So appointed by the president. She's the one who will appoint them as long as they're in general competence and whose independence is beyond doubt, and they're committing to acting in the interests of the union as a whole, politically answerable to the parliament, and then the parliament have the power to dissolve them. They're usually there is 27 commissioners. They're also known as the College of Commissioners, and they run for 5 years and then nominated by common accord. They have a president, 7 vice president, and 1 fourth vice president elected from the members. So there's 48 directorates general and 9 services, at least 1 meeting a week, 4 per month. The structure, the staff is divided into 41 DGs, directorates general. So they have 41 departments and 9 services like legal services, translation, etc. And the DGs are required to work closely together to coordinate in the preparation and the implementation of the decisions of their colleagues. In other words, they work in harmony. They don't go like they work like haphazardly. The DGs devise and draft commissions and legislative proposal. So you find majority of the European Commission's employees in that beautiful building I showed in the beginning. They have about 35,000 officials, temporary staff, contract staff, and special advisors. The European Parliament employs about 7,005, and other institutions like the European Court of Justice, the Court of the Council of the European Union, or the Court of Auditors, they employ significantly lower. So most of the people that's working for the EU are working with the European Commission. So my advice to all my lecturers and teachers is to maybe have a look towards this direction. Should the EU laws become obsolete and dormant in the teaching profession? How does this commission come to an end? It comes to an end when 5 years is over, upon death, voluntary resignation, compulsory retirement, compulsory collective resignation. And we have seen an example of this when the entire EU Commission quits over sleazy report in March 16, 1992, and they had to leave that office at 11 a.m. The shock resignation followed publication of a damning report of cronyism, mismanagement, and fraud within the European Union. That's governed by Article 246, which sets out the procedure of who's to be sacked and who's to stay. Now they make this the commission work in a way where they make this decision by a simple majority. And simple majority, I would reckon, means 50 plus 1 according to my company law. And a major majority would be like 75% and more. Never mind. So they come to the decision by a simple majority, by meetings, written procedure, empowerment, and delegation. The role of the European legislative process, the process is they represent the EU interests, must act in general interest. Obviously, you work with a company, you work in the general interest of that company, and the Council and the Commission to consult and settle by the common accord methods of cooperation. So basically, they would negotiate, they would be lenient, they would try their best to get people to comply to these legislation because it means money for them, more money for them. So there's no point that the EU just bullying people and making them upset. The four main roles of this commission is basically they propose legislation to the Parliament, also to the Council of the European Union. They manage and implement the EU policies and budget. Very, very, very important roles. They enforce the EU law and they represent the EU on international stage. Now, these four main rules is one that is it goes hand in hand. So they make the rule to suit UK. They will then give it to UK and manage this and police this. Then they will make you enforce the rule, and then they will represent on the international stage. So they go out of the EU. Very important. The function, they're basically the watchdog of the treaties. They initiate, like I'll give you that direction now of how they implement. They promote the interest, because all in the interest of making Europe stronger, united Europe, the United States of Europe, whatever they have in their mind, they have this vision, they have this goal. Essential roles the commission has the commission has always been the single most important political force for integration and federalism, ever seeking to press forward to attain the union's initial objective, which was to keep peace and stability and to let people not destroy each other, and as expeditious was the union's initial objectives as expeditiously why am I getting this word wrong as possible, within the aim of moving onto a closer form of the union. So basically, the form of the union, the vision is to actually expand Europe, keep everybody within, and to keep them in line. So the commission has four functions. We had four roles, now we have four functions, and they function within the legislative, executive, the administrative, and the judicial functions. So those are four of the functions there. Like for example, legislative would be like the initiator of the policy and delegated legislative power. Executive would be like financial aspects and external relation, prepares preliminary budget and drafting and so on. Administrative will be things like the watchdog, like when they find the US and find the UK, sorry, not the US, find the UK over the Chinese imported cheap goods. Judicial functions would be like the final, they work with the EU, with the ECJ closely to make sure that you are following. If you're not following, then you'll have fines and you have everyday compounding interest on your fine. You find that the High Representative of the Union for the Foreign, I said they represent the Union on an international forum. But except for this guy here, Joseph Borrell, he is the High Representative of the Union for Foreign Affairs and Security Policy, and he is the chief coordinator and representative of the common foreign and security policy. So they've given that position to yet another important person within the Union, within the Commission. And his jobs are governed by sections 18.2, article 18, sections 2, 3, and 4, which no time to really actually discuss. The dismissal of this commission now. How much minutes more do I have? 2 minutes?
You have about 5.
Okay. Moving on swiftly, dismissal of this commission, the resignation of the European Commission. We've seen this, and the European Commission resigned as a body on the 15th of March 1999, following the publication of a report on the fraud, mismanagement, and nepotism. In the commission and this was in the commission by a committee of independent experts, and that's link is there. The losing powers they've been such a powerful body, such an engaging one. They've actually done a lot for the EU, but are they really losing powers Of course, they're losing powers, according to many critics, like the likes of Nigel Farage and the rest of them. The democratic deficit in the EU, there's a massive deficit. In fact, they actually not only undemocratic, they're actually anti-democratic in many instances. They actually you just place people. They appointed in many. The EU is not a democratic system, it's an appointed system. Bodies bring bodies, and they're not really engaging with the citizens. So they are, it's because the system is a lot undemocratic. You find a lot of undemocratic things happening and anti-democratic things happening. And number two, they're not really engaging with the citizens. People would actually vote in Big Brother more than they actually care about the EU and the voting. Or get me out of here, I'm a celebrity. Millions are actually paying more attention to these things instead of the EU because they've lost interest. The argument that there's a democratic deficit in the EU, both sides of the argument are considered in the light of recent treaty changes and makeup of the EU institution. So you find they would put a law on the country, they'll make an institution, make a body to govern that. They actually twist your hands. They bend your hand just to follow those rules. And because they're entirely appointed, they're appointed, and the word here is appointed, note, not democratically elected. Thus, they're limiting and gaining the support and the power of enhancement on its own accord. So the commission's decline, most recently, many people have written on the decline of this. Many institutions concluded that the commission's powers and influence are actually generally in a state of decline. And some of those cases are the Kasim et al. 2013, Majon 2014, Rasmussen et al. 2013, Wallace and Reh 2015. The commission's decision, the commission has become less important in the eyes of many and less ambitious in the agenda setting as compared to previous eras, has become timid. They become so timid in putting forward common policies and has increasingly become instructed on what to do by the European Council. So the European Council have a big brother hand over this commission. Oh no, no, you stay within your line. So things like this, which has emerged as a center for governing major. So this European Council has emerged as a center for governing major areas of the EU activities and crisis management. So the commission has been declining. Basically, they've been declining in the agenda setting, in legislating, and in executive tasks. The entire commission will have to resign, like I gave the example earlier, if they are found of misconduct and cronyism and bullyism and the rest of it. So the entire commission would have to resign. Not one, not two, no, the entire commission. My conclusion is the European Commission is considered the most important institution of the EU. I have to give Jack his jacket. The most important institution of the EU. It's actually the engine of the EU, if I want to use that word, if it makes sense. It drives. It's a driving force of the EU. If you have a problem, oh, who do you actually call in the EU? I'm going to call the European Commission because they are the boys. They're the big boys over there. And they're regarded as the most federal institution. That's because they're working with the big body, the parliament, the court. So they have the power. If you work with the court, you have the power. This is why I can't wait to graduate. I want to work with the court. Bad boys, what are you going to do? What are you going to do when I come for you? Independent from direct national influences. So they're actually independent. They are appointed, but they are like in they don't the politics are not there too much. Supranational authority, yes. Its powers of early eras are slowly depleting, according to many critics and writers and scholars, and the commission can be dissolved for misconduct, and Brexit will be a tremendous blow for the EU as tension intensifies. 29 minutes. Thank you very much for your patient hearing.
Thank you very much.